TF2 or Team Fortress 2 is probably one of the most influential, well I would say games, but things in general online. The simple team shooter has never died, even when it was supposed to with the lack of updates. Every era of the internet, I swear, has had one of these mercs acting as a big meme somewhere. The community has outlasted the updates, and the memes have outlasted basically every other meme. The community has been more prolific than even the hardest to escape and generally considered the most toxic fandoms, yet they've still been pretty decent outside of competitive play. And speaking of playing, I've never played a game of TF2 in my life, but I am a fan of the fan base. In part due to the memes, but mostly due to the wild, fantastic, creative, and notorious fan animations that seem omnipresent online. And remember when I was talking about how Skibidi toilets weren't even that weird on their own compared to what the SFM and Gmod animations had to offer? Well, let me show you what I mean by that. With all of YouTube's changes over the years, it's wild that animations involving Source Filmmaker and Gmod utilizing Team Fortress 2 models haven't changed aside from getting a bit better. Every other genre on the platform is either unrecognizable or dead. Meanwhile, Valve projects like Team Fortress 2 animations have pretty much stayed the same and as relevant as ever. And to celebrate their victory lap with giving people a cute seal instead of fixing the game, I'm gonna do something that I'm very, very shocked no one else has done. A top 10 list on the best TF2 animations. I don't count top 10 animation memes. Those things they're a demon in their own right, and I don't trust them. The rules? Simple. 1. If it's an animation on YouTube, fair game. Gmod, Source Filmmaker, anything. However, to keep things fair, number 2, only one video per creator. And most importantly, number 3, is if you like Gmod or SFM animation, subscribe to Alecations. Yeah. Simple enough? Heck yeah, it's simple enough. Let's go. Expiration Date by Valve themselves. Valve is the creator of TF2 for those uninitiated. And also, this counts, believe it or not, but also I count the creators of the game itself as just a single creator, so I'll only count this one animation. I thought this was kind of the end of the era of TF2's popularity when it came out in 2014. It was a sign that Adult Swim wasn't picking up a show for it, despite how good this movie actually was. TF2 is partially popular due to looking like DreamWorks movies, so making one is only logical. If this was by the community like every other entry on this list, this would be a lot higher, from the impact to the quality. However, the fact that there are a lot of entries that look just as good as the official product is kind of insane and drags this one down a lot. The strengths are still there. Expiration Date has a decent plot. Long story short, everyone thinks that the tumor in the bread teleporter is gonna kill them all, so Scout tries to carpe diem by wooing the hot, overworked assistant. People who know about the TF2 character shorts know how good Valve is at characterization and comedy, and those people were asking for more. I put Expiration Date as the shoe-in for all of the Valve animations because this qualifies as that more. This is some serious characterization and development in a canon event for everyone to witness. Spy and Scout especially get a lot of character development, and it's really weird seeing the rest of the cast so divorced from anything interpersonal that's almost jarring. This is me being a little nitpicky, but usually when characters are focused on, the side characters still feel like characters, and even if their struggles are underdeveloped, they still got meaningful interactions. But here, it's all really divorced, though the comedy between the characters is still amazing. Otherwise, it's still just a really funny classic by Valve. The YouTube poop, meet the Mario head. I told you, anything goes. Does a YouTube poop even count? I don't know. I feel like it should, given that MobrosStudios was well known for turning chaotic shitposts into something that ascends the genre. To which he even got actively frustrated at people for complimenting him for saying he's making something too good to call poop. Whatever, we're not gonna get into that. For the uninitiated, YouTube poops are basically crazy edits of anything, that's it. In this case, it was the Meet the Pyro short Valve created. There was enough transformative editing and wild tweening for me to consider this an animation, though some may argue I'm cheating. Personally, I love this video on this list because it's just such a product of its time. My Little Pony references for no reason, TF2 memes of course, SpongeBob, Mario Head, the jokes amounting to making innocent kid show characters evil and edgy, the entire YouTube poop genre, which is still alive, but not nearly as strong. It all felt very 2012, in a good way. In addition to MobrosStudios breaking the mold for the time, his editing is impressive, and though overly glossy channels that demand professionality may demand, well, professionality, he was revolutionary at the time. Okay, the Unusual Trouble series, specifically Endless Unusual Troubles by STBLACK, STs, is something we're probably more expecting with a list like this. While Meet the Mario Head was a time capsule for sure, this series feels like we've never really left that time capsule. Everything is so serious and plays everything so straight these days, and it's all glossy with all of these presets for editing. And though the animation quality is high, it's still so goofy, and the humor is fast-paced enough to drive anyone crazy, but also laugh. Not to mention the engaging plot keeps me hooked every episode despite it being just absolute nonsense. I chose Endless Unusual Troubles as a representative because
son, always remember, dying is gay.
But another thing that stands out about this series is despite having the formula of drive the viewers insane with things I genuinely can't describe, using the limitations of ragdoll physics to your advantage, the characterization seems surprisingly consistent between episodes, despite it intentionally being inconsistent. But the real reason this made it on this list is this weird thing STBLACK does every climax, where he turns the final battle into a fighting game or RPG reference. I don't know why, I just kinda dig it. We Like to Party by Annie Moose. The representative by Annie Moose is We Like to Party, one of the most iconic and popular TF2 animations on the net.
Holy!
My god, this itched my 13-year-old brain when it came out, and I've referenced this in some equally zany projects since then. Annie Moose is both one of the most revolutionary but incomprehensible animators out there. It's really weird. Like, Skibbity Toilet looks like SpongeBob getting normal pills level of weird.
Hi, how are you?
I'm sorry. I don't know if I can describe any of his content. I will describe the techniques and formula. Most of his shorts tell a story. Clearly a story. I don't know what the stories are, but I think they're telling one. And they do it without dialogue. The animation techniques are what sell it. It's not the story, man. Not only lining up the impact frames or whatever the CGI equivalent would be to the beats and notes of the music, making it addictive and satisfying to watch. Moreover, what I see to be more impactful is turning the camera into a piece of the animation, almost like another character. We don't see that enough in animation, but turning the angles into not just moving objects, but one that line up with the squash and stretch of the characters, and the beat, giving the camera itself as much personality as anything else going on. And despite the crude character models, clearly others saw professional potential as though he missed the pitch to Adult Swim. His Taco Bell review animation inspired Taco Bell to hire him for a commercial, so I'm pretty proud of him for that. Annie Moose, the Annie Goat. Now, unfortunately, the next one does not have as happy of an ending. Team Fortress Team Fortress's official voice actors help the community thrive, as many creators can act surprised or even antagonistic towards transformative content on their source material. The TF2 team was happily supporting them and making jokes along with the community, which made it even sadder when Rick May, the voice of Soldier, sadly passed away. It would have been sad regardless to see a voice actor for a character you like pass away, but for the TF2 community, it hit even closer to home because he was as much a member of the community as anyone else was. He wasn't just a voice actor, he was a friend, and everyone in the community appreciated him for it. And honestly, the number 6 spot is reserved for basically anyone who was making a respectful tribute to him. I can't pretend that I knew him personally, and I can't even really pretend that I was enough in the community to really say anything too personal, so I won't be disrespectful and fake it, but either way, rest in peace. In the middle of the list, we're nearing the end of the line by McVee over here. On to more fun. These are the videos you can show anyone and they'll appreciate, whether they're terminally online, a TF2 fan, or just someone who likes good stories. As much as I adore the zaniness of the TF2 community, sometimes just impressing me with something that just genuinely is as high quality as a full-length Pixar movie, but with enough edge to satiate my cruel self is what you need. End of the line, atmospheric masterpiece, literally. The animation on the atmosphere specifically, especially with the weather, is really amazing. It looks even better than stuff like Expiration Date, and it's an espionage train heist played pretty straight. The characters are alright, but the plot twists, intensity, action, straight up spectacular to the point of influencing a map in the main game. And yet there are 4 videos I think can top it. The red, the blue, and the ugly. The Winglist series is pretty similar in size and scope to McVee's End of the Line, and there is an entire genre of serious SFM animations involving TF2 characters in original stories, and something about the Saxy Awards, and a lot of lore that I don't really understand. But somehow, this one seems to be the best of all of them, which is a pretty high bar. It's better in nearly every way from its contemporaries, from plot to characters to fight choreography and even comedy. But what's wild to me is that this series has a plot and it's not a one and done, keeping me hyped up every episode. I can't talk too much about this one without spoilers, but the fact that spoilers are important enough to this shows how amazing the twists are. And like any classic series on YouTube, by the time you catch up, last episode ended on a cliffhanger. It's been years since the previous video on YouTube, and you don't know if either the show or the creator has been cancelled, or maybe it's just taking for fucking ever to make a masterpiece with the best animation yet. And then you worry about the plot being disappointing, but I got a good feeling about this one. But the facts don't care about your feelings, and neither does Piemations. Piemations, yeah! Meet the amazing team. Luckily I can technically count this one as one video because he made it all into one video. Ironically, of all the series on this list, this would be the easiest one to pick out the best. This is a 2D animated series that started when Piemations was 13. I am very envious of the youth and those who spend it well. It started like any normal animated YouTube parody series, but then something happened. Lore happened. A lot of lore, answering questions unanswered in the TF2 canon, plot twists with the characters, major development, and even treason and everything going off the rails. Not uncommon for parodies to go dark on YouTube, but sometimes they end up a little corny. But there is one really big reason this one is so high up. It ended. I know everyone in 2nd grade was taught about the beginning, middle, and end in storytelling, but I swear to God, the pros seem to forget a lot. I know it's mostly because they run out of money, all that stuff. It's bad enough on streaming and television, but on YouTube, I can't even remember how many times stories actually ended if it went on for more than 3 episodes. Top of my head. I remember Piemations Meet the Amazing Team series having an actual ending, and I think that's it. Did the shows just never end? Did they just stop? I mean, I guess technically the next one had an ending. I have way too much I could say about Pootis Engaged by Sino. The very anime-inspired TF2 series with the epic and awesome Heavies is pretty epic and awesome, wow! The plot is absurd about 2 thick boys fighting but united to find anime boobs in Area 51, and the high-quality animation is accentuating the comedy. Now, I did put the first part of the 2-part finale on here, and even though they're both great, I feel real confident in my decision because as amazing as the sequel is, the pure variety of tones and action, accuracy of video game references, and most importantly the camera angles are unprecedented. Similar to Spider-Verse, these all take influence from the low frame rate CGI stylization. Similar to other Spider-Verse inspired movies, they do it in a new way though. I alluded to how Animoose's camera angles were pretty inspiring. Well, Animoose ran so Sino could run like the Heavies in this. The camera and the Ken's burns are not just as much a part of the animation as everything else and accentuate the action, but he goes a step further by using wild distortion of the body parts as well as having characters go in front and behind the Ken's burns, as they track different attacks and lighting you want to focus on. This does so much at the same time while being completely comprehensible, accentuating impact, speed, power, density, lighting, making it easier to track the action, adding depth and a 3D effect. It's a rare yet perfect harmony of style and substance. The practicality of it all while being so unique isn't just cool and professional. We are beyond the pro standards now, we are making our own standards as shown by people replicating their style and vibe, being instantly recognizable. I mean, this came really close to becoming my #1 favorite TF2 animation of all time, and I've been watching this stuff for over 10 years now, so that's pretty crazy. But there's still one more that just can't be topped. Now, even though Sino came out of nowhere and made one of the greatest TF2 animations of all time, he came close to dethroning the king, but I doubt anything will come close in terms of impact, influence, quality, variety, comedy, plot, characters, or even context. This #1 combines all traits of all of the previous entries: mixed media, new techniques, inspiration, goofiness, starting memes, starting trends, plot, characterization, entertainment, and yet it's one almost every TF2 fan probably expected to be #1. You know, I want to pick something a bit more surprising, but sometimes the popular opinion is the right opinion. Of course, I'm talking about Team Fabulous. Where do I even start with this? So much going on. Crazy Gmod physics on full display. Every few seconds is a joke funnier and crazier than the last. There are straight up models with filters and frame rates pulled from other games. There is a randomly really impressive 2D animation, a tone shift that works really well, and gaslights me into thinking there was a plot the whole time, that I am damn near crying over near the end. Honestly, gaslighting me into thinking there was a plot when really there was just nonsense for the entire first half is probably more impressive than a great plot. The animation is so mixed and fantastic. Jokes practically killed me. Whenever I see Ragdoll Spiral, I shit myself to death, and then I reanimate myself with the Pooh effigy from the sheer laughter. The epilogue and intro is weirdly bittersweet without the context because the music hits that mid-2000s grunge right to hit my nostalgia just the perfect way. Climax is one of the most epic things on this entire list, being this badass redemption and lining up the music wonderfully. But I have to address the elephant in the room. Not only is this arguably the godfather of all Gmod and SFM animation on TF2, definite emphasis on Gmod on this one, and it's definitely not the first, not even Kitty's first. Probably one of the biggest stylistic inspirations creating the Gmod goofiness that got way more popular throughout the 2010s than it was prior. Unfortunately though, we have another tragedy on our hands. The creator, Kitty0706, unfortunately died due to leukemia in 2015. To this day, his fans visit his comment section, and it's both very sad seeing him die when he started YouTube just for fun and not even planning on uploading. But it's just as inspiring that in such a short life, he inspired millions of people and was supported by hundreds of thousands for something so silly and so innocent. This wasn't supposed to be an emotional video, but I suppose when you have a series that has touched so many for as long as Team Fortress 2, we're going to see some people die before the faith in the game does. As sad as it is, it's kind of beautiful seeing a community so united for such a long time under a silly game. It's almost like everyone in it is a close friend instead of a rando online. I've never played TF2. Maybe that'll change someday. In the meantime, these are the best TF2 animations on the net. What are your favorites? What did I miss? In the meantime, make sure we respect the people we miss. And make sure you don't miss out on anyone or anything you care for now. People say that a lot. Knowing a lot of people, myself included, do suffer from focusing on goals and media more than people. We don't stop to smell the roses, and we don't stop to appreciate those who light up a sometimes dark world.